All right, good evening, folks. Here is what we're having for dinner tonight. It's going to be sloppy joes and macaroni and cheese. So here's the recipe. Our ingredients are some light brown sugar. All right, it's going to be a tablespoon of that. Then we've got some ketchup, and that's going to be 1/4 cup. We got some vinegar, and it doesn't really matter what kind of vinegar you're going to use, but I'm going to use a tablespoon of that. We got some yellow mustard, and I'm using a teaspoon of that. We got this hamburger, that's just 1 pound. We're going to use half of that onion. We're going to use a half a teaspoon of salt. We're going to use probably 4 of these hamburger buns. And then we got some margarine. That's going to be 4 tablespoons. We got a box of thick and creamy macaroni and cheese. And we've got a half a cup of milk. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started cooking. All right, in this pan, I've got our hamburger meat on low so that it can go ahead and brown. About when it's, starting to brown pretty good, I'm going to go ahead and add those onions. And in this pot, I've just got some water on to boil so that we can make our macaroni and cheese. All right, so our hamburger is halfway done. So I went ahead and added our half an onion, and we're going to let that cook. All right, so let's see. Okay, and all I'm doing is chopping this up as it thaws out and browns. All right, there we go. How about that? So, anyway, we'll be right back. All right, our hamburger and onions are done. So now we're going to go ahead and add our sauce mixture. All right, now I have mixed in everything. And so everything's mixed. That's the Worcestershire, the mustard, the salt, vinegar, brown sugar, ketchup. Okay? And here, that's the macaroni. And we've got that on to boil. Okay? And we're going to let that boil now. All right? And we'll be right back. All right. I've mixed it all up. This is what it looks like. And I'm just going to cook it a minute here to get it all incorporated. There we go. That's going to be our sloppy joe mixture. Now, if you like a sloppier sloppy joe, you can go ahead and add more ketchup and the rest of the ingredients. But this is kind of how we like ours. We don't want, it dripping all over us. So, anyway, this is good. All right, we'll be back. All right, I went ahead and drained those noodles as they were done. So I've added the 4 tablespoons or so of margarine, and I'm letting that melt. All right, our margarine is about melted, so we're going to go ahead and add our cheese sauce mixture. Kind of the same way as you would if you were making original macaroni and cheese. You would add your cheese after you melt your butter. So we're going to go ahead and stir that around. Okay. There we go. Can you see that? There we are. Okay. There we are. Now, we've got that well incorporated into that margarine. Now, sorry about that. We're going to add our milk. Okay. And we're going to stir that in together until it gets nice and creamy. You can see how it's starting to incorporate. And you can break down anything that looks a little lumpy. Okay, like that. Alright. There we go. See how it's turning kind of creamy, like a sauce? That's kind of what you're looking for. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and grab the macaroni. Okay, can you get it? Awesome. There you go. Thank goodness for husbands. They help us out when we need them, don't they? They help me out with that macaroni. Now we're just going to mix it in nice like that. Okay. This is the sauce for the macaroni. Alright. There. All is well. It's all incorporated. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. And let it thicken. Thank you. Alright. We'll be right back. Alright. Here is our dinner. All served up. We got a Sloppy Joe sandwich and some macaroni and cheese. And if you wanted a vegetable, you could always put a pickle with it, or some peas, or whatever you have on hand. But it's late, and this is what we're having for dinner. Alright, we're going to count those onions as vegetables. And maybe the ketchup is maybe a vegetable too. Who knows? But anyway, this is our dinner, alright? So, I hope y'all give this a try. It is very yummy, and it's not real greasy, and it's not real saucy to where it makes a mess all over you. So, if this is your style, this is a good thing for y'all to give a try, okay? So, take care, and God bless y'all. See you next time.